Welcome to Heart Healthy Living with Dr. Jackie, a Big Blend radio podcast that features Dr. Jacqueline Eubany, a board-certified cardiologist and electrophysiologist and author of the best-selling book, Women and Heart Disease, The Real Story. Welcome, everybody. So October is National Health Literacy Month, and I didn't even know that existed, but it does. And I think this is really cool because Dr. Jackie's here. And when you go to the doctor or you end up in the ER or a family member does and stuff happens and they're saying words and there's like reports, it's like taking your car in and you don't know what the heck they're talking about, right? And it's like, okay, do I really have to just eat celery every day or something? I can handle that, but we really don't know what you're talking about. So today we're going to talk about some terms in cardiology, in heart health and heart disease, so that if, you go to the doctor, you end up in an ER or loved one, like I said, that we can understand it a little bit more. So Dr. Jackie, are you ready to give us a class on heart health terms? Because even cardiology is hard to say. I know. I'm looking at this list. I found this massive list of cardiology terms, and I'm like, I don't know where these terms came from. I don't know who made them up, but some of them are interesting. So, and that's the thing too, when you're in an emergency situation, when someone comes in, has a heart attack, and next thing you know, they're going to bypass surgery. Do they really get what's going on? Half of the time. It's really hard, huh?
Yeah, no, I think that's a valid point because when patients show up and, they have a serious medical illness and they have doctors coming at them and just trying to explain to the best of their, ability, but it gets to be overwhelming sometimes because, from the patient standpoint, you're sick and you're not feeling good and you have somebody here telling you all these things. So it's all just coming all at once and you're being bombarded. And yeah, it's understandable that sometimes you're just not following what's going on and you think you are. But yeah, no, that's understandable.
I always say, when you go and something happens, right, is to have somebody there with you to document. Because if you're the one if you're the patient, you're not 100% there to get everything because you're not well at that point in an ER situation. And even going to the doctor is scary. So when you're going through fear, you're not really getting all the information as you would normally do, right? Especially if you're not feeling well.
Yes, so, I completely agree with that. Go with someone so that you can have an additional set of ears to hear what's being said, and you can discuss it at home and see if both of you understand what's actually going on. And always write your questions down. You can always call your doctor back if you think of something after the appointment or after you've had this encounter with the doctor.
I love that you said that. It's really true. A friend of mine just went to the hospital in the ER and they said, please call with questions later. And the nurses actually gave a lot of information. They were more available to explain things as things were being done to my friend. The nurses, I just started asking questions one after the other because they're doing stuff and they're there. And so why not get the information you can while you're there? And you could also record it too. So you can go and listen back. We have all that technology on our phones, Dr. Jackie, so we could record it too, right? Absolutely. Just let the doctor know. Yeah.
Yes. You just have to get permission. You're not allowed to record people against their will. So yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, I get to record you, right? We got a podcast to do here every second Wednesday. Dr. Jackie's here. So one of the first things, and this is actually a friend on Facebook was posting this about a friend and loved one. Actually, I think it was a family member saying, "Oh my God, we're going to have to do ablation." And I don't know if I'm pronouncing this. So we're going to go through the alphabet as quick as we can here. What is ablation? I mean, is that something to do with our abs? Are they sucking up my stomach fat? Am I going to get skinny from this or no?
No, since we're talking about the heart, we can safely deduce that we're not talking about the abdomen. But anyway, an ablation is a procedure that's done in patients who have problems with abnormal heart rhythms, usually with fast heartbeats. So when your heart is racing or going fast, you feel palpitations, chest pains, and shortness of breath. And an ablation is a procedure that can be done to potentially cure you from this ailment.
Hmm.
So basically
Okay.
what happens when your heart's beating fast is it's kind of like a circuit gone awry. You have tissue in your heart that's firing electricity just out of
Hmm.
kilter, and that causes your heart to race. So the idea behind the ablation is taking catheters up to the heart and looking for this tissue that's firing out of control and basically destroying that tissue so that it can stop doing that. And your normal pacemaker can take over pacing the heart.
Wow.
That's just in general terms. There are different kinds of ablations depending on the arrhythmia you have. And when I talk about the arrhythmia, I'm talking about where in the heart this abnormal tissue is. So, but that's just a general term, finding this abnormal tissue that's firing out of control and destroying it, whether it be with heat, radio frequency energy, cold, as in cryotherapy, or our newest technology now called PFA, pulse field. It's a different kind of technology used to destroy the tissue.
Wow, this is cool. Now, I just watched a documentary and did an interview with the filmmaker. The documentary is called The Pitch, and it's all about patient safety, and it talks about virtual reality, and it showcases a lot of hospitals around the country and around the world of how they are even being able to use, AI and technology, and people are scared of it, right? But when I watched this, I was like, this is pretty amazing that you can actually go in, like they were showing cardiologists being able to see what's going on with your heart and zoom in and almost practice virtually the surgery before the surgery happens. Like you can go in. So this is kind of an interesting thing in your career. Has this changed a lot? Has medicine changed? I mean, it really has. And the
Yeah.
technology has changed,
Yeah.
hasn't it? To make it, we shouldn't necessarily be too fearful because it seems that the technology, the doctors are still doing stuff. I think people think a robot is going to go in there and do an amputation or something, and it's not that way, right? It's a little bit different. It's like doctors are being able to see things. What I experience is that hospitals and everything are more connected for patients. It's like a virtual terminal that we didn't have even right before COVID. Even I think we're getting better in doctors being able to get records quicker, no matter where you are, and synchronize them and understand the medicine that you're taking this. So we're not going to have another 10 drugs that don't go together. You know what I mean? Do you think we're on a positive
Yeah.
path with all of this?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Yeah. I mean, technology has been improving, every year something new has come up and the technology it has been improving our procedures, improving the success rate, and most importantly, decreasing complications from procedures. So procedures that we do today, even, 5 years, 3 years ago had a lot more complications than they do now. But as a result of the improvement in technology, we're seeing better success rates. We're seeing fewer complications for patients, and overall, it's very good.
Mm. Okay, so before we go to B, because apparently we're going to meet Brady, and he's a hot dude. I don't know, but let's talk about we we've talked about atrial fibrillation before. That's a big word. I got it now. Last month I did like woo. I'm getting there, but I wanted to touch on about atrial flutter because it kind of sounds like you got a butterfly in your heart, and atrial flutter almost sounds like a good band name. Um, I don't know. Come on. Don't you think it's a good band name, Atrial Flutter?
Well, when you put it that way, it is kind of, it does sound like a good band name.
It
That's
is.
funny.
It sounds good, but what is that? I mean, is it just, because when we think about the heart, it's the rhythm, and we do a lot of
Yeah.
music shows. I know you're a music lover too. And I
Yeah.
just always think people are like, how did this just magically synchronize with this? I go, because everything is about the heartbeat. Everything
Yeah.
revolves around the heartbeat.
Yeah.
Nature, everything we do, the actual rhythm of life is a heartbeat, I believe. I mean, you're the
Right.
doctor, you're the cardiologist.
So, right. So atrial flutter is also another abnormal rhythm that's associated with the fast heartbeat. and there's a particular circuit in the heart that just seems to be firing. It could be in the right upper chamber of the heart. It could be in the left upper chamber of the heart, but it's very well defined. We know exactly where it's coming from. And on EKG, it has a distinct look that you look at it, you know, this is atrial flutter. So just like atrial fibrillation, because it causes the heart to race or go fast, you have the same kind of symptoms. You have, you know, palpitations, which is you're feeling your heart racing. Some people have chest pains with it because if your heart's racing, you may not be getting enough oxygen to your heart or other organ systems. You could be short of breath and things like that. And again, if you have that rhythm, your doctor would or your electrophysiologist would offer you an ablation as a potential treatment for the atrial flutter. So the atrial flutter, especially if it's coming from the right side of the heart, can have a success rate as high as 99% with an ablation therapy. So ablation is almost curative for atrial flutter. But, you know, you're always given the option of doing an ablation versus being on medications. But the problems with medications is medications don't actually cure. They just suppress the rhythm. They help you feel better in the short term, but over long periods of time, your body doesn't respond as well to the medications. So in that particular case where the success rate is very high, the complication rate is very low, it's just a no-brainer that an ablation is a better option for treatment for atrial flutter, especially right-sided typical atrial flutter.
This is really interesting because when you think about medication like blood pressure and all of that, right? And your big goal with everything we do on this podcast, when you write your book, Women and Heart Disease, The Real Story, is to understand lifestyle change. Because, you know, you can reverse having to be on medication if you really focus on it and change your lifestyle and walk 150 minutes a week, only 5 ounces of wine for women. Just saying, I'm getting this here. I'm learning.
Yeah.
You know, so we start doing these Mediterranean diets and, you know, actually get rid of stress, relieve, you know, have some releases for your body, laugh, be with friends. You know that October is known as Come Over October month now. It's a new movement.
Come on over
October. And what it is about getting to know your neighbor and sitting down and having a dinner or coffee together or whatever, and starting to connect. And I think that when we create a sense of community and caring and bonding in a way, and we laugh about something, or we're making our body feel better, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
You know?
I would agree. Yeah. We talk about the Mediterranean diet, and, you know, social interaction is actually part of it. Getting together with friends and family, having a nice dinner, having a glass of wine. That really helps, you know, in terms of your mental state as well as your diet and your health.
Now, don't tell anybody, but I got Nancy to eat kale. I'm whispering it so she doesn't hear it. I did. I got her to eat kale. She just doesn't know. And I got her to eat spaghetti squash. She just doesn't know. And no, I did. I mean, we're working on it, man. We're working on things. Yeah.
Kale is yummy. I actually like kale.
I do too, but it's the way it's done. And what I've learned is that you need to wrestle the kale. You massage it, not wrestle it. Massage the kale because the oils come out and it's not as rough on your body. So it loosens it up so it's not too hard and over fibrous so you massage the kale. And then it becomes more massage it so it's gentler on your system. And, you know, I make it into teeny, teeny little pieces. And I got her to eat broccoli the other day. Broccoli.
Oh, wow.
I'm on a roll.
I know. You're going to have to share some of these recipes with me.
Oh, you know what? I've been talking to Chef Ivan Flowers and Peggy Fiandaca, who is the wine lady from LDV Winery, on our show. And, you know, she's all about Mediterranean diet, the whole blue, you know, the Blue Zone movement. That's how I found out about it's Come On Over October. She's like, come on over, have a glass of wine, get to know each other. And that's how you start going, hey, I need to walk. Okay. If you're with your neighbor, well, maybe you're going to take a walk in the morning. and start getting healthy. And then you're building a community, which is so important.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yes.
so all these people and the chefs are like, they're helping me because like I'm stupid when it comes to cooking at times. Like really, I mean, the first time I did spaghetti squash, Dr. Jackie, it exploded in the microwave. Okay.
Oh,
Like
good heavens.
it was like Chucky had a new hairdressing thing, you know, so it was great. So, but listen, experiment and have fun. And so
Yeah.
now we've kind of like, all right, let's look at this as fun. And I learned how to cook butternut squash for the first time with
Oh,
ginger and turmeric, and it was healthy. Olive oil, by the way. I know you like
yeah.
that. I did this, and all of us sat there, friends. We were all we were friends, and we had all this squash, and they were like, "Well, we don't know how to do this," and I'm like, "I don't know how to do that." So we just said, "Well, let's just do it, and if it sucks, oh well." Then just don't eat it. It's okay. When you're in a family kind of setting of friends and loved ones, you can go, if it sucks, just don't eat it. But at least you tried and you're going to learn something from it, right? So
Yeah.
that's what
No, I
we did. And
agree.
it turned out to be really good. It was good.
Yes.
Little
I would
ginger
tell you,
is good.
I love butternut squash. I love roasted butternut squash and seasoning it. So that's one of the things I really like to cook for Thanksgiving or Christmas because it's very fall. It's a very fall fruit or vegetable, and yeah, and
Yeah.
it's really good. Even
And
the soups, the butternut squash soups. Oh, so good.
yeah, ginger, turmeric, which is really
Yeah,
good for you. And I
yeah.
did paprika on it as well. And I put garlic
That
and
sounds
onion
delicious.
with them. Yeah, it was so good and we couldn't believe it. Now I think I should have left it in a little longer so it could get a little crispier, but
Uh huh.
I mixed it up. I got my hands in there with oil, olive oil and put it on parchment paper and roasted it. And oh my
Oh
gosh,
yeah,
that those spices and I put a little
yeah,
sage. That was the other thing. Cause I was also listening to what everybody likes and doesn't like too. So you're trying to, make everyone happy and eat vegetables and be healthy. And we sat down and had this amazing meal and we all just knew like, let's just try this. Let's try that. There was two of us cooking and it was fun. We all sat there and we laughed. We played music while we were cooking and had a glass of wine and we
oh, that's
laughed. And I just sat there and
mm,
going, these are these simple pleasures in life that
yes,
actually I think we're in the fall season. So we need to embrace these things. And,
yeah.
now we're going to go back to our alphabet. Okay. So I think we got A and B. We did broccoli. We did butternut squash, right?
Yeah.
We're doing good. We're doing good. We can't do the whole alphabet of cardiology terms. So this is part one,
No,
y'all.
maybe we'll break it
So
up into
yeah,
different
we can.
shows.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I want to talk about Brady. It's not the Brady Bunch, but you have a thing called bradycardia or bradyarrhythmia. Am I saying
Yes.
this anywhere close?
Yeah.
What
You
is
know,
this?
you're absolutely right. Bradycardia or
Ooh,
bradyarrhythmias. So they're the opposite of a tachycardia or tachyarrhythmia. So we talked about atrial flutter and atrial fibrillation, which are tachycardias, which means just fast heartbeat. So you have the fast
hmm.
heartbeat like the atrial fibs and flutter, and then you have
So this is the
brady.
heavy metal drummer in your heart. That's the heavy
Yeah,
metal dude.
it's much slower. It's slower. You
Oh,
can associate a slow bradycardia, slow rhythm with just feeling sluggish and just feeling
oh. So when you
lightheaded.
say hard, I would thought it would be like really quick. So this is like a slow thud.
Slow, yeah, slow beats. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah. So it's when your heart rate is slow, and some people can have slow heartbeats and not have symptoms, and then others can have really slow heartbeats and problems with their normal conduction system or electricity in their heart, which can be a problem. And the therapy for problematic bradycardias include things like pacemakers. That's really the only way that you can help the
Hmm.
heart beat faster.
Now, in going through this list, I learned that we actually have algorithms that are part of pacemakers, and our body actually has a natural pacemaker, right? Not just the ones that
Yes.
we need. So it's about so when a new like a machine pacemaker, not a natural pacemaker goes in, is it replacing your old one? Are we
Yeah.
changing the battery out in our body? Like what's going on?
No, it just when you add an external pacemaker, what the pacemaker does it just watches your heart and sees what your heart's doing. If your heart is going too slow, then it'll kick in and take over. But if your heart rate comes back up to normal, then it stops. So it's basically sitting there watching, and it acts as a backup if you need it. If you don't need it, it just sits there. But if you need it, it'll kick in and start pacing for you.
This is fascinating. Oh, I'm so glad we're doing this. This is so cool and then you have a great glossary in the back of your book too. Everyone, I'm serious. Go get it. Women and Heart Disease, the book,
The
go
real
get
story.
it. Yeah, go get it. I'm going to your website.com, but yeah, Women and Heart Disease, the real story. It's a bestseller. I remember you texting me the night it became a bestseller, and we're like, yee. We were all
Yes, I
excited.
remember that.
I know. I was like,
It's so
I'm going to
exciting.
start beating pots and pans. But it seems to me when I'm reading all of this, it's all about, listen, we've got to become our own band manager. So our
Yes.
heart. So I'm looking at this in
Yes.
music because everything I'm reading, it just seems that we have to understand who's who in the band. And if someone's not doing well in the band, we need to help them. So it seems like this is all about the rhythm section, which is the
Yes.
foundation of the band. So your heart is part
Yes.
of your foundation of your body, right? If you don't
Right.
have a good rhythm section, which is your bass player and your drummer, go sing in a coffee shop and
Yeah.
drink really good espresso or something. But you know what I mean? I'm not knocking
Yes, exactly.
singer-songwriters at all. They're all my good
Mm.
friends and I'm one of them. But, it's about rhythm, right? So if
Yeah.
you're, whatever instrument you're playing, your rhythm is so important because
So
you
important.
want, and people are going to tap their toes. And if your rhythm's off, well, they're not tapping their toes right anymore and they're going to
Yeah.
get lost in the song. So
Yeah. Exactly.
there's this
So every
one
part
word.
is needed. Yes. So
Yeah.
everything is, uh-huh.
Okay, wait. Okay. You talked about tachycardia, tachy,
Tacky.
atrial
Fast.
tachycardia. You talked about that, but there's
Yeah.
this atrioventricular node, and then one is a synchrony. And basically, it's this like what's going on with this node? Like it has to do with this like the conductor going
Yeah.
in with the I'm just trying to put it into musical terms for people to like understand how our hearts work. So it's like you've got to like a band, when you watch a band perform or a
Uh-huh.
conductor is there, the conductor lets the musicians know it's your turn, go. But if your conductor's faulty, then uh-oh, the band is gonna suck, right?
Yeah, something
No?
like that. It's the AV node is part of the conduction system. It's not the one that generates the electrical activity, but it waits for the conductor, which will be the sinus node, to generate the activity. So when the
Mm.
conductor or the sinus node generates the activity and pushes it towards the AV node, then it picks up the activity and then it pushes it down to the rest of the heart so that the rest of the heart can have electricity. So it's sort of the
Ooh.
middleman, but it does control some of the electricity in the heart.
So the electricity, and that is important. In music, you've
Yeah,
got to feel that vibe, that
you got
electricity.
to feel
Ooh.
the vibe. Yes,
Oh,
in
okay.
your
So,
heart, you need the electricity to pump. So that's where you generate the energy for the heart to pump blood out. So
okay.
that's why electricity is important.
Okay. Can we go back to, man, we're really covering some good ground here. You talked about the tachycardia, but then there's the anti-tachycardia pacing. So that's like they don't want the tachycardia. They're the anti. Are they on strike? What's going on? Like,
So you can have anti-tachycardia pacing, which is called ATP. That's a therapy that's delivered by a pacemaker or a defibrillator. So yeah, so when your heart's racing, you can try to pace your heart to stop it from doing that. So anti-tachycardia. So for tachycardia, you can give anti-tachycardia pacing.
as you say that, I just want to go Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan. I'm serious. That's so funny. But okay. So basically we're doing A's and B's today. Okay. We got the broccolis. We got the butternut squash. Everybody's all good for you in the fall. Um,
Yes.
and so algorithms are all part of this too for our pacemakers and everything that's natural or a defibrillator, right? And
Right.
then so let's talk about the worst thing, which is arrest, right? That's the bad
Yeah.
word. We don't want the band to get arrested and put in jail.
No, you don't want that. That's actually deadly. That's just when the heart stops. No electricity, and therefore it doesn't pump. And if it doesn't get reversed right away, it basically leads to death.
So if someone has a heart attack, right?
Uh-huh.
Like say you're hanging out with some, you know how anybody can have a heart attack in any situation at any time. And all of a sudden it's like, you know, Sanford and Son thing, right? And a woman doesn't present nicely with that either. It's hard to tell. I mean, it's like, oh, I've got a little indigestion, but you're having a heart attack. But it's like, oh, I just, you know, feel I ate something or whatever, right? It's hard with women.
Right. Right.
But the arrest part, like how fast do you need to get care? If you, I mean, if you're having a heart attack, is that arrest or is it attack and then arrest?
Yeah, so that's an important question because that's a term that gets confused by, you know, the general population. A heart attack is not a cardiac arrest, but a heart attack can lead to cardiac arrest. So a heart attack is when you have blockages in your heart that prevent adequate amounts of blood and oxygen to get to your heart for, you know, nourishment and replenishment. So if you're lacking oxygen, then the heart can go into an arrest because, you know, the conduction system stops working. So the heart needs oxygen in order to function. If it's not getting the oxygen it needs, it can just stop functioning, which in layman's terms would be like a cardiac arrest or something. So a heart attack is not necessarily a cardiac arrest, but a heart attack can lead to an arrest if that blood vessel that has the blockage is not revascularized or it's not opened up so that the heart can get the oxygen that it needs.
Okay, so when do you do the zapping thing with the iron paddly things? When does that happen?
When you go into a cardiac arrest, so the electricity basically is, we say, fibrillating. You shock the heart back into a normal rhythm. You're basically trying to wake up the heart's normal pacemaker so that it can take over. So you stop the bad fibrillating rhythm, and then the normal pacemaker kicks in so that the heart can, quote unquote, restart back to normal.
Dude, it's all about the drummers, man. We got to take care of the heart. It's the beat. It's the drummer. Okay, so now I saw this thing here. Now we're talking about the rhythms, right? Get a rhythm. And we all know, do not do hard. I talked about you on a show recently. Our women saving lives. We did that. And you were up with Florence Nightingale and Harriet Tubman. And I'm like, I'm representing Dr. Jackie. Nancy, because Nancy and I were sitting there. I was like, Nancy and I were sitting there going, okay, who am I going to do now? You know, everybody's bringing a woman. And Nancy just looks at me. She says, are you talking about Dr. Jackie? What do you mean? Nancy is like, you represent, you know, Dr. Jackie because she's doing it now. Because our Women Making History podcast is about women of the past, present, and future, because the past helped the present and the present helped the future, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what you do. And I'm like, she saves lives. And they all sat there. Everybody's in history mode, right? And I'm like, she's doing it now. And, you know, you have quite a story. You served in the military. Your family came in from another country, which I thought was also important. Just saying. Yeah. And it's an amazing story that people can be inspired by, and women doctors. And so everyone, that link, check that out. I'll put it in the episode notes for you to check out the link with Dr. Jackie talking about becoming a doctor as a woman. Is an incredible story. It's not easy to be a cardiologist as a woman. You know, come on. It's not. It's been a male-dominated world for a while.
It really has been. It really, really has been.
Well, I'm now finding that, you know, doctors, you know, getting doctor, you know, Nancy and I travel, right, full time. So getting doctors is a whole other deal, you know, but I was looking, we need to do doctor stuff, you know, as we should. Apparently we need checkups, right? Is that right? Apparently. Anyway, we're working on it, right? And they're like, would you prefer a woman or a man? And Nancy's like, woman, we want a woman doctor. I mean, who, as a woman, do you really want, you know, like, you're going to, I I want a girl. I want a woman doctor, please. We need, so it's like, it's so important, and we shouldn't really care about that, but it just,
Yeah. Yeah, I
comfort,
think both genders
comfort.
provide excellent care,
Yeah,
but it's up to
both
you
do.
and your comfort level. You should be with somebody that you feel comfortable with, though. That is for sure.
I
Somebody you feel
agree.
comfortable enough to tell all your symptoms, to just be honest with, because you need to be honest with your doctor, or so they can help you. So it's important to be with somebody that you
Mm.
do feel comfortable with. But both genders provide excellent medical care.
Okay, going real quick. Anti-arrhythmic drugs. What is this? I mean, I know musicians from the 70s are going, what the heck is that, man? We didn't have that. Like, it's was it against a drug? It's a drug, but it's an anti-rhythm drug. Like, druggists
Yes,
may not want this.
yes, that's what it is, an anti-rhythm drug. So when your heart decides to, go into a fast rhythm, you get a medication, an anti-arrhythmic drug to help slow your heart back down to normal. Like I spoke about earlier,
Yeah.
when you have a fast rhythm, your options are medications or an ablation therapy. So an anti-arrhythmic would be an example of a medication that can be prescribed or that you can take for your fast rhythm that's causing you a lot of symptoms.
Well, that's what I was talking about on a different show, was drugs, because I don't know, I was saying you don't let people do drugs early, because I was telling people on the show, I can't remember which one it was. And I said, well, Dr. Jackie says you do one little thing of cocaine as a kid or a teenager or a young person, you could have a heart attack when you're 70. And they're
Yeah,
like, what do you mean? And I said, no, it's true. Dr. Jackie said so.
yeah, because it can be, it's toxic. Drugs are have direct toxic effects on the heart, and sometimes they're permanent. And, a lot of times, or some of the heart disease that we see now are for people who were engaging in a lot of, drugs back when they were younger, and they didn't understand that you could have some lasting damage down the line. So,
Wow.
yeah, be
Wow.
careful with that.
Yeah, just don't do it. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Jackie. Always a pleasure, and happy fall, So
Yes.
we know butternut squash is your thing, or walking on
Yeah.
the beach is still a good time. I think fall, where you are in Southern California, you get to see
Yes.
whales at this time of year.
Absolutely. The sun is still out. Yeah, you can still walk on the beach. You can put on a sweater, but it's still beautiful to walk on the
Awesome.
beach.
That's good for your soul, which is good for your heart. It's all good.
Yeah.
Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Jackie is here every second Wednesday. We love our times with her. So we got through A and 1B. We got one Brady boy. And we'll do more next month, everyone. But then I know Dr. Jack is going to get into holidays. Oh boy, what are we going to do with those cookies and cake and all of that? So we may have to dig into that, so she keeps us on the straight and narrow and still having fun. That's the thing, Dr. Jackie, I love about you is you make doing the lifestyle fun, because when you change over, don't look at it as a diet, just have fun with it. And the holidays can be fun and delicious and still healthy, because the most important thing is that you're there for them. So, so let's do it right. Thank you so much, Dr. Jackie. Take care, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thanks for joining us on Big Blend Radio's Heart Healthy Living Show with Dr. Jackie. New episodes air every second Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can keep up with Dr. Jackie at womenandheartdiseasebook.com. Listen to the shows at bigblendradio.com.